There's a truth most men are never taught to say out loud. Real strength is quiet. The most dangerous men in any room are rarely the loudest ones. They don't rush to explain themselves. They don't react on impulse, and they don't give their emotions away for free. Modern society pushes the opposite. You're encouraged to speak fast, react faster, and display how you feel at all times. Anger is rewarded. Overreaction is normalized. Silence is misunderstood as weakness. Stoicism stands firmly against that current. Emotional strength is not about shutting feelings down or pretending nothing affects you. It's about becoming someone who cannot be bent, provoked, or destabilized from the inside. It's the result of quiet training, internal discipline, the ability to decide what deserves your attention and what doesn't. This video isn't motivational hype. There are no empty slogans or academic lectures here. Only Stoic principles forged through pressure, time, and real human conflict. Because when your inner world stays calm and unreadable, your power multiplies. If they can't read you, they can't control you. Silence is a weapon. Most men are trained to believe that reacting quickly is a strength. At work, in relationships, and in conflict, you're expected to respond, explain, and defend yourself immediately. Silence is often labeled as weakness, hesitation, or lack of confidence. But in reality, the man who reacts the least is the hardest to manipulate. Every emotional reaction gives information away. Tone, timing, words, and facial expression all reveal where you can be pressured. When someone knows what provokes you, they know how to steer you. This is why loud men are predictable, and predictable men are easy to control. Stoicism approaches silence differently. Silence is not withdrawal. It is not avoidance. It is a strategic distance. By not reacting instantly, you interrupt the other person's ability to read you. You remove their leverage before they even realize it's gone. This is why calm men feel dangerous to unstable people. Not because they threaten, but because they don't offer emotional access. There's nothing to grab onto, nothing to push against, nothing to exploit. In a world obsessed with expression, silence becomes a form of resistance. And resistance, when chosen consciously, is power. There is a crucial distinction Stoicism makes that most people miss. Silence can come from fear, or it can come from control. Fear-based silence shrinks you. It holds back because it doubts its own position. Controlled silence does the opposite. It waits because it knows it doesn't need to rush. Fearful silence hopes the situation will pass. Controlled silence observes the situation until it reveals itself. One avoids conflict because it feels small. The other stays quiet because it feels steady. When you stop reacting, something subtle but important happens. The other person becomes uncomfortable. Without your emotional response, they lose feedback. They begin to talk more, explain more, push harder. And in doing so, they expose their intent, their insecurity, or their agenda. This is why silence is so effective. It doesn't attack, it doesn't accuse. It simply creates a vacuum where the truth rises on its own. People reveal themselves fastest when you stop feeding them reactions. Stoic training starts by breaking the reflex to explain yourself. You don't need to clarify every misunderstanding. You don't need to defend every decision. And you certainly don't need to respond to every provocation. Explanation is often an emotional habit, not a necessity. Instead, practice letting your actions speak over time. Consistency builds credibility far more effectively than justification ever could. When your behavior stays aligned, silence gains weight. People stop questioning you, not because you convinced them, but because you no longer feel the need to. This is not about being cold or distant. It's about choosing when your words are necessary and when they leak power. The Stoic man understands that silence, used correctly, doesn't weaken his position. It fortifies it. When you master silence, you don't disappear. You become harder to move. Unbreakable men are not emotionless. One of the biggest misunderstandings about Stoicism is the idea that strength means feeling nothing. Many men assume that to be unbreakable, you must shut emotions down, suppress them, or pretend they don't exist. That belief doesn't create strength, it creates pressure. And pressure, when ignored, eventually explodes. Stoicism never taught emotional numbness. It taught emotional command. There is a critical difference between not feeling and not being ruled by what you feel. The Stoic man experiences anger, disappointment, fear, and frustration just like anyone else. The difference is that those emotions do not decide his behavior. Emotionless men are brittle. They avoid feelings because they don't trust themselves to handle it. When something finally gets through, it overwhelms them. Unbreakable men are different. They allow emotions to surface, but they refuse to hand them the steering wheel. This is especially important for men in modern society. You're expected to perform, provide, and stay composed under pressure, while being told that showing emotion is either weakness or instability. So many men swing between two extremes: emotional outbursts or emotional shutdown. Stoicism offers a third path: regulated strength. Emotional regulation is not repression. Repression pushes emotion underground, where it quietly shapes resentment, passive aggression, and burnout. Regulation keeps emotion in sight, but contained. You notice what you feel without acting on it prematurely. You acknowledge it without broadcasting it. Stoic philosophers understood that emotions are signals, not commands. Anger signals a perceived injustice. Fear signals risk. Sadness signals loss. These signals are useful, but only if they are interpreted calmly. When you react instantly, you obey the signal without understanding it. This is why emotional discipline matters more than emotional expression. The Stoic man asks, "What is this feeling telling me?" before asking, "What should I do about it?" That pause transforms emotion from a liability into information. Men who master this process become difficult to destabilize. Insults lose their sharpness. Pressure loses its urgency. Chaos loses its grip. Not because the man is detached, but because he is grounded. His emotions move through him without knocking him off center. Over time, this changes how others interact with you. People sense that emotional manipulation doesn't work. Provocation fails to get traction. Drama finds no audience. Your presence feels steady, not reactive. Unbreakable men are not cold, they are composed. And composition, not suppression, is what keeps a man standing when pressure arrives from every direction. Control what touches you. One of the most practical disciplines in Stoicism is understanding where your control truly begins and ends. Most men spend years wasting energy on things they cannot command: other people's reactions, unpredictable outcomes, shifting opinions, and external chaos. Stoicism cuts through that confusion with clarity. You may not control what happens around you, but you always control what is allowed to reach you. Every single day, the world attempts to invade your inner space. A careless comment, a disrespectful tone, an unexpected delay, a critical email, or a dismissive look all compete for emotional access. Without discipline, these things pass straight through and decide your mood, your focus, and your behavior. The Stoic man trains himself to become selective. Not everything deserves entry. This is not emotional numbness, and it is not avoidance. It is filtration. You begin to treat your attention as a guarded resource rather than an open door. Before something affects you, it must pass through conscious evaluation. Is this within my control? Is this aligned with my values? Does reacting strengthen my position or weaken it? Most external stimuli fail these questions immediately. Men without this filter live exposed. Their emotional state is at the mercy of circumstances. A small inconvenience can derail an entire day. A minor criticism can linger for hours. Stoicism restores authority by narrowing the point of impact. Events are allowed to exist without being permitted to dominate your inner world. This discipline begins internally, not externally. Thoughts are often the first intruders. Assumptions, imagined disrespect, and future anxieties feel convincing, but they are interpretations, not reality. The Stoic learns to notice thoughts without automatically believing them. A thought appears, is acknowledged, and then examined. It does not receive obedience by default. The same principle applies to emotions. Feeling frustrated does not require frustration to act. Feeling pressure does not require urgency to follow. Emotional discipline means recognizing sensations without surrendering judgment. You experience emotions fully, but you decide deliberately how to respond. As this practice develops, something important changes. Situations that once felt overwhelming begin to lose their intensity. The external world does not become calmer, but your relationship to it becomes steadier. Fewer things are allowed to touch your center, so fewer things are capable of destabilizing you. This shift becomes most visible under pressure. Instead of reacting outwardly, you adjust inward first. You slow your breath. You clarify your objective. You choose your response rather than releasing a reflex. That brief pause is where control lives, and that control compounds over time. People notice this boundary, even if they can't explain it. Conversations feel different. Conflict feels contained. Emotional manipulation loses effectiveness. Because you are not easily touched, others are forced to approach you with more care and more respect. Stoicism does not teach you to build walls. Walls isolate and harden. It teaches you to build gates. Gates allow entry by choice, not by force. When you control what touches you, your inner world becomes stable, focused, and resilient. That stability is trained, earned, and quietly powerful. Why calm men are hard to break. Calmness creates a form of authority that doesn't need to announce itself. When a man stays composed under pressure, people instinctively sense stability. His presence feels grounded, predictable in values, but unpredictable in reaction. That combination produces a quiet kind of respect, one that doesn't come from dominance, but from reliability. Calm men feel safe to stand near, and it is difficult to push them around. Men who lose their temper easily are simple to read. Anger reveals priorities, insecurities, and pressure points almost instantly. Once those emotional triggers are exposed, they can be pressed again and again. A calm man offers no such access. His inner state remains private, and that privacy makes him difficult to influence or destabilize. Stoicism does not treat calmness as a personality trait or a natural gift. It treats it as a strategic advantage that must be trained. Calmness is the outcome of repeated exposure to stress without surrendering control. While others escalate emotionally, the Stoic man slows the situation down. He gathers information instead of giving it away. In conflict, this difference becomes decisive. Most confrontations are not won by strength or volume, but by emotional positioning. As tension rises, many people feel compelled to assert themselves through tone, speed, or intensity. Voices sharpen, gestures grow rigid. The Stoic recognizes a simple rule. The first person to lose composure loses leverage. Calmness disrupts the emotional rhythm of conflict. When one person escalates and the other remains steady, an imbalance appears. The agitated individual begins to feel exposed, uncertain, even foolish. Meanwhile, the calm man gains psychological space. He is no longer reacting. He is observing. That space allows clarity. A calm man can listen without absorbing hostility. He can respond without defending his ego. He can choose silence or speech based on strategy rather than impulse. In moments of tension, clarity outperforms intensity every time. Stoic philosophy emphasizes that calmness is not passivity. It is readiness without panic. The calm man is not detached from the situation. He is fully present without being emotionally hijacked. He feels pressure, but he does not amplify it internally. That refusal to escalate preserves energy and judgment. Over time, calmness changes how others interact with you. People sense that emotional pressure has little effect. Provocation feels pointless. Attempts to rush or corner, you lose momentum. Calmness quietly trains others to approach with more care because unpredictability combined with control commands respect. This does not mean calm men never act decisively. It means action is delayed until it is precise. When force is required, it is applied cleanly, without emotional residue. Calmness ensures that power is used deliberately rather than wasted impulsively. In every confrontation, there is a silent contest beneath the surface. It is not about who speaks louder, but about who remains centered longer. Stoicism teaches that composure consistently wins this contest. A calm man is hard to break because his strength does not depend on the moment. It is already secured within him, training the mind through daily discipline. Emotional strength is not something you are born with. It is built slowly and quietly through repetition. Some men appear naturally resilient, but what you're really seeing is practiced control. Without daily discipline, even the strongest temperament eventually breaks under pressure. Stoicism treats the mind like a muscle. Left untrained, it reacts automatically to stress, fear, and discomfort. Trained consistently, it learns restraint. Emotional strength comes from conditioning your inner responses long before real pressure arrives. One of the most important Stoic habits is learning to observe your thoughts. Thoughts appear constantly, often without permission. Many of them are exaggerated, fearful, or defensive. The Stoic does not fight these thoughts or immediately believe them. He notices them, labels them, and allows them to pass without action. This simple act creates distance. When you observe a thought instead of obeying it, you reclaim authority. Anxiety loses urgency. Anger loses momentum. The mind begins to slow down, not because problems disappear, but because reactions are no longer automatic. Another quiet discipline is daily self-review. At the end of each day, Stoic practitioners reflect honestly. Where did I react impulsively? Where did I lose control? Where did I act with discipline? This is not self-punishment. It is calibration. By reviewing your behavior without emotion, you begin to see patterns. Certain situations repeatedly trigger you. Certain people consistently drain your energy. Awareness turns mistakes into instruction instead of shame. Over time, improvement becomes intentional rather than accidental. Stoicism also emphasizes preparing the mind for adversity before it arrives. This practice is often misunderstood. It is not pessimism, it is mental readiness. By calmly imagining challenges in advance, you reduce their emotional impact when they occur. When hardship arrives unexpectedly, it feels overwhelming. When it has been anticipated, it feels manageable. The Stoic trains his nervous system not to panic when conditions change. Preparation transforms shock into familiarity. These habits may seem small, even insignificant. Observing thoughts, reflecting briefly at night, preparing mentally for difficulty. But small disciplines compound. Each repetition strengthens your ability to pause, choose, and respond deliberately. Men often underestimate this process because it lacks spectacle. There is no dramatic transformation, no sudden breakthrough. Strength builds quietly, beneath the surface. One controlled response replaces one impulsive reaction. One calm decision replaces one emotional mistake. Over time, this accumulation becomes visible. You react less, you recover faster. You remain steady where others spiral. Emotional strength emerges not as an effort, but as a default state. This is the Stoic path. No shortcuts, no noise, just daily discipline shaping a mind that cannot be easily shaken. Letting go of the need to be understood. One of the deepest and least discussed sources of pain for men is the need to be understood. Many men carry a quiet frustration that comes from feeling misread, underestimated, or unfairly judged. They want their intentions to be seen clearly, their efforts recognized, and their decisions validated. When that understanding doesn't come, resentment slowly builds. Stoicism confronts this struggle directly. It teaches that the desire to be understood is natural, but dangerous when it becomes a requirement. The more you need others to see you a certain way, the more power you hand over to their perceptions. Your emotional state becomes dependent on something you cannot control. Not everyone needs to understand you. In fact, most people never will. They see the world through their own experiences, insecurities, and biases. Expecting universal understanding is unrealistic, and insisting on it quietly exhausts you. The Stoic accepts this without bitterness. There is also a hidden cost to constant explanation. When you feel compelled to justify every choice, clarify every intention, and defend every action, you train yourself to seek permission. Over time, this erodes confidence. You begin to measure your worth through agreement instead of alignment with your values. Stoicism teaches restraint and explanation. Not every misunderstanding deserves correction. Not every judgment requires a defense. Some actions speak best when left uninterrupted by commentary. Silence, in these moments, preserves dignity. This does not mean becoming indifferent or detached from others. It means choosing self-respect over approval. The Stoic man understands that his responsibility is to act with integrity, not to manage everyone's interpretation of his actions. Meaning is found in alignment, not applause. When you release the need to be understood, something powerful happens internally. The constant tension eases. Decisions become simpler. You stop rehearsing explanations in your head. You act because it is right, not because it will be received well. This freedom is unsettling at first. Many men fear that without explanation, they will be misjudged permanently. But Stoicism teaches a counterintuitive truth. Over time, consistency clarifies what words never could. Behavior repeated calmly carries more weight than any defense. Letting go of validation also strengthens emotional resilience. Insults lose their sting. Misinterpretations lose urgency. You no longer feel compelled to correct every narrative about you. Energy once spent on justification is reclaimed and redirected. People eventually sense this shift. When you stop chasing understanding, conversations change. You speak less, but with more intention. You listen without needing to convince. And when you do explain, it is chosen, not demanded. The Stoic does not reject understanding. He simply refuses to be controlled by the lack of it. He accepts that some doors remain closed, some minds remain fixed, and some opinions never soften. None of these realities determines his worth. True freedom begins when your sense of self no longer depends on recognition. When approval becomes optional, not necessary, you regain sovereignty over your inner world. Stoicism offers this freedom quietly, without promises of admiration. When you no longer need to be understood, you move through life lighter. Decisions feel cleaner, silence feels comfortable, and your strength, no longer seeking permission, stands on its own. Quiet strength changes how people treat you. Quiet strength has a way of reshaping the environment around you. It doesn't announce itself, and it doesn't demand recognition, yet people feel it almost immediately. When you stop reacting impulsively, conversations change. The tone shifts. Others become more deliberate, more careful, because they sense that emotional leverage no longer works. Most social dynamics rely on predictable responses. People test boundaries through tone, timing, and pressure. When you react quickly, you confirm those patterns. When you don't, uncertainty appears. Without your reaction, others are forced to slow down and reassess how they engage with you. This is why silence often invites caution. When someone cannot provoke a response, they lose control over the interaction. They no longer know where they stand. That uncertainty encourages restraint. Words are chosen more carefully. Behavior becomes more respectful, even if unconsciously. The same principle applies to respect. Respect does not appear when you ask for it. It emerges when your behavior makes it unnecessary to ask. Men who seek validation often signal insecurity, even when they don't intend to. Men who move without needing approval project confidence, not because they claim it, but because they don't need confirmation. Stoicism teaches that authority is not requested, it is demonstrated. When your actions remain consistent under pressure, people adjust. They sense boundaries without having them explained. They feel limits without them being enforced verbally. Over time, this consistency reshapes your role in any group. You become someone whose reactions are measured, whose words carry weight, and whose presence is steady. Others begin to anticipate your silence and respect it. The absence of noise becomes meaningful. Quiet strength also neutralizes manipulation. Emotional tactics fail when they meet no reaction. Guilt loses effectiveness. Provocation loses urgency. Attempts to rush or intimidate lose traction. Without resistance, manipulation has nothing to work against. This does not mean others always approve of you. Stoicism does not promise popularity. Some people feel uncomfortable around quiet strength because it exposes their own emotional volatility. But even discomfort carries a form of respect. People may not like unpredictability, but they acknowledge it. In professional settings, this presence often translates into authority. Calm responses in tense moments create trust. Leaders who remain composed under stress inspire confidence, even without charisma. In personal relationships, quiet strength creates stability. Drama fades when it finds no reaction. The Stoic never seeks dominance. Dominance requires constant assertion. Quiet strength requires none. It holds its ground effortlessly. That is why it lasts. Eventually, people stop testing what doesn't move. They stop pressing where there is no reaction. What remains is a new dynamic, one shaped by restraint rather than force. Stoicism teaches that true power does not need to be claimed. It reveals itself through behavior, discipline, and consistency. When your strength is quiet, it becomes undeniable. Others may never name it, but they respond to it all the same. This is how Stoic power works. Not through control of others, but through mastery of self. Emotional strength is not built by speaking more, reacting faster, or proving yourself to the world. As you've seen throughout this video, real strength is quiet. It's built through knowing when silence carries more weight than words, through inner discipline that keeps emotions from taking control, and through the ability to protect your inner world from constant pressure, opinions, and provocation. When you train this consistently, something important changes. You stop wasting energy on unnecessary reactions. You stop giving leverage to people who rely on manipulation or emotional pressure. And over time, without confrontation or explanation, you become harder to break. Remember this core truth. When they can't break your inner world, they lose all leverage over you. This week, don't try to change everything at once. Choose one situation where you would normally react immediately. Slow that moment down. Observe what you feel without rushing to explain or defend yourself. Let silence and time do what words often fail to do. Stoic strength does not need to be announced or proven. It reveals itself quietly, through consistency, restraint, and calm presence. People feel it before they understand it. Thank you for spending this time here and staying with the video until the end. Your attention matters, and the inner work you're doing matters even more. In the next video, We'll continue this journey of inner training, learning how to live with greater calm, clarity, and freedom in a noisy world. Until then, stay steady, stay disciplined, and protect your inner peace.